Hello everyone, my name is Fikri Siswoto and my buddy Abyhafsy and Gabriel Cesily. We are from group 88 and we're going to discuss, Abby and I is going to discuss about the case and the solutions for it, and Gabriel Cesily is going to do the role play. The real life case that we're talking about is about Veronica's work-life problem. Veronica had been working for the same organization for several years. She was known for being a dedicated and hardworking employee, but lately, her behavior had been causing some concerns among her colleagues and managers. Despite her past successes, Veronica had been struggling with a variety of behavioral problems that were starting to have a significant impact on her work. Arriving late to work, missing deadlines, interrupting others during meetings, and not actively listening to their inputs. In addition to these issues, Veronica had also a tendency to criticize and blame others for their mistakes. She would often point fingers and shift blame rather than taking responsibility for her actions. This would give a negative impact on the morale and motivation of her colleagues, who felt they were being unfairly criticized and blamed for their mistakes that were not entirely their fault. Veronica also had a tendency to micromanage her colleagues. She would constantly check up on them, ask for updates, and make changes to their work without consulting them. This behavior was causing frustration and resentment among her colleagues, who felt their autonomy and expertise were being undermined. The manager recognized this issue and decided to have another conversation with Veronica. This time, the manager focused on coaching Veronica to trust her colleagues, give them autonomy to complete their work, and only check on them when necessary.
So now I'm gonna talk about the solution, and the first topic I'm gonna discuss is behavior assessment. So in POB class, behavior assessment is talk about generally self-awareness and looking at Veronica's problem in her workplace, like missing deadline and criticize her colleague and micromanage his colleague. I think Veronica should keep up her self-awareness. She should consult to the manager, because I think in every workplace they have a manager, and usually I think she should interact with her colleagues, like maybe discuss about work, and generally having fun is improving your self-awareness to your colleagues. And I think if Veronica can increase her self-awareness, and I think it's a good thing to solving this problem. Generally, I think Veronica can make a positive and workable environment for her workplace. So the second topic that I want to discuss is defense mechanism. So everybody have a defense mechanism when they're facing a problem. So as Veronica, I think Veronica problem is she has a problem and she tried to cope with her colleague, and I think that's unacceptable. So I think knowing her defense mechanism, should understand that what her problem and what's her wrong, and I think what's good for her colleagues. I think Veronica should acknowledge that her problem cannot be transferred or cannot be called into her colleague, and I think Veronica should take responsibility. And to increase that, I think Veronica needs like consultant or something, so she can acknowledge her defense mechanism. So the third topic that I want to discuss is conflict management. So in POB class, conflict management is all about managing your workloads and managing your conflict in your organization. So in Veronica case, I think Veronica should divide her individual and team workload, and I think if Veronica have conflict inside the organization, I think Veronica shouldn't have just blame the colleague, but I think she should like search for the best solution and trust her colleague. And I think the best thing is like improving her communication skill, because a team is so important, and you cannot blame each other because it's gonna demoralize your team. I think acknowledging your conflict and confronting into your colleague and addresses the problem and search for the solution is better than blame other colleagues instantly. So that's all the 3 topics that we discussed, and I think if Veronica implied that 3 topics that we discussed, I think Veronica behavior can increasingly more positive, and I think the environment for her organization will be better and more positive. That's all, guys. Thank you.